We are going to do our next example, which is going to push us into our next worksheet, which is part 3, using logic functions. So I'm going to click on select that worksheet tab, and I'm going to right click on the worksheet tab. I'm going to rename it a little bit. I'm going to call it Math plus Logic Functions, because in this worksheet we are going to use logic functions and conditional formatting to draw out some important detail using color in bold font and stuff like that. I would have called this worksheet tab Math and Logic Functions and Conditional Formatting, but there's a limit on the number of characters you can type in a worksheet tab. The first example I'm going to do, example 3a, is going to be from our part 2 example, our first example, example 2a, in the part 2 math functions example. I'm going to highlight, I'm going to copy this entire table and paste it into my, starting in my A1 cell of my third worksheet tab. And what I want to do is I'm going to leave everything the same about this, except I want to highlight in green and change the font to bold red for any even number of my dependent variable. If you recall, I asked a question over here, is y even? And you'll see remind yourself how I did that. I took the modulus of my dependent variable y of the current cell, and I took the modulus of 2, which is basically dividing by 2 and keeping only the remainder. And if it was equal to 0, then it was an even number. And by setting it equal to 0, by using this relational operator, you are forcing Excel to return a true or a false value. With that in mind, let's see if we can conditionally format our dependent variable y, the B column. And to do that, you format the first cell in the range that you want to conditionally format by, in the Home tab, going up to the Styles button, menu button, and choosing conditional formatting. You can pause the video and look at the different options you can use. I'm going to use manage. I'm going to create a new rule, and you have to use new rule whenever using a formula. And you can pause the video and look at these options. I'm going to choose use a formula to determine which cells to format. I'm going to type my formula in here, format values where the formula is true. I'm going to click on my little Excel window. I'm going to choose that value. And I'm going to, I know that I'm going to apply my formula here, and it's modulus B2 comma 2, because I'm dividing by 2 to see if it's even or odd. I'm finding the modulus of the number by dividing by 2. And I'm going to do this incorrectly to just show you what happens. I'm not going to set this equal to 0. I'm just going to leave it like that. And when I hit enter, now I have to apply the color formatting or font formatting that I want to apply to the cell if this formula evaluates to true. I click on the format button. I want to apply a bold red font with a green fill. I'll click OK, OK. And you'll notice that that first cell gets evaluated to true, and 1 is not even. So that should be a little surprising. I will explain why in a moment. Let me finish this. I want to really apply this formatting to all of my dependent variable. So I will go back up here to Styles, Conditional Formatting, and now I want to manage my rules where I can create, edit, or delete previous conditional formatting. And you'll notice that my range for this conditional formatting is just B2. I don't want it to be just B2. I want it to be that whole range of values in my dependent variable. So I will click on my this window next to applies to. I don't want it just to apply to B2. I want it to apply to all of these values. And when I hit OK, you'll see everything gets highlighted. All right, well, that's not too useful, but it's because I made a mistake. Let me go back into Styles, Conditional Formatting. I'm going to manage that rule so I can edit it. I'm going to edit the rule, and now I'm going to put in the correct formula. The reason that everything gets highlighted green in bold red font is because modulus is always going to return a number. In this case, because I'm dividing by 2, I'm always going to get a 0 or a 1. And because Excel is looking for a true or a false to conditionally format, actually it's looking for a true to conditionally format the cell to green background fill and a red bold font, it is going to look at a 0 or a 1 as true. So you have to make sure when you do conditional formatting that your equation evaluates to a true or false. Right now, mod B2, comma 2 is just evaluating to a number, not a Boolean true false. I have to put a relational operator in here. I will put equals 0. I'm sorry, I have to put a relational operator in there that will evaluate to true or false. And so you can see here that this mod value, which can only evaluate to 0 or 1, is going to be checked against the value 0. So this equal sign here is my relational operator, and I can quarantine that equal sign off from the first equal sign here, which is my equation equal sign. And so now I'm going to ask the question, is my number in cell B2 after it's divided by 2, is the remainder equal to 0? If it's true, I will apply the formatting. If it's not, no formatting will be applied. I will select OK and OK. Well, now you notice everything goes away. And the reason for that is because I left a $ in there on purpose just to show you the error that will happen. Because the $2, because the $ precedes the 2, it locks in for all values of my table. It's evaluating whether this first cell in B2 is even or odd. If I were to change this to the number 2, then everything will get formatted green because it's evaluating the first cell value, and if it's even, and everything gets formatted. Let me undo that operation, and let me go back into my conditional formatting, manage rules. I'm going to edit this, and I will take that $ out of my equation for my first cell, and that will automatically update through all the other cells when I conditionally format. You can leave those $ there because that's just the range that it's going to apply that rule to. And when I click OK, now you will see that only the even numbers are actually highlighted green with red bold font. I don't need this column anymore, so what I can do is highlight that C column, right click, delete, and all I have to do is apply my thick border to the outside right edge. In this example,